All right, guys. Welcome. I'll give you guys a minute to come in. I'm gonna be pretty quick on this one. I got my chickens, as you can see. Oh, somebody's hitting keys. They're probably not happy with me for waking them up in the middle of the night, but they'll be all right. They're a little bit higher up in the tree than usual. I'm gonna run through this and cover what happened today. Since I was slipping earlier, man. I was so tired. Be sure to hit that like button as you guys come in, so we can get more people in for the chickens, not for me. But I have a special guest. Good evening, Christine. Lined up, maybe a lawyer. He hasn't been back in touch with me, but in an hour. But we're lined up to come on around 8:15, 8:30. Supposing that there isn't a million technical difficulties with that. But we're going to talk about why this trial is not being filmed and why federal trials are not filmed, and what he thinks about that and whether he thinks that should change, or we'll have a discussion about that. But for right now, I'm going to go through we'll cover the trial, like the title says. Then I'm going to stop this live and I'll be right back after I get in touch with him, as long as that still works out. And then we'll be back with a different stream right after this one. This one will probably be about an hour. So let's see. Let's jump right in to, let's just go back to the whole day here. We got the Maxwell here. Not Harris at all. We had that fun little debate earlier, whether it was Harris or Michelle Obama. But it's actually Maxwell, as we all know. So the trial started, continuing the testimony of the pilot. Hold on, these guys are stressing me. Boom. You guys get to sleep in luxury. Yes, there. All right, so we have the testimony of the pilot. Viskoski. I don't know how to say it. Somebody's getting on me about that earlier. Can you at least pronounce it right? I don't know. Interesting things that came out about that. We had all the names dropped. The book of Epstein's flight log with all the, all the names we've all heard a million times. Bill Clinton and all that. Who else was it? There was a number of them dropped. We'll get into that in a moment, I guess, because they're right down here bottom. But, how else would he, they're talking about flying around Epstein. How else would he get there? By boat or whatever, right? Just going through all these different things that weren't that interesting. One thing that people keep saying is luggage is like, we're about to get into in a moment, where he kept saying he was putting electronics in Epstein's buildings, but not saying what those electronics were. People are saying luggage is another word like that means something, but I don't think that that's true, because in the pilot's testimony later, he says he did not believe that Epstein touched children, like hurt them. That was not his belief. That he didn't see that happening. He had no proof of that in his recollection. And, he even let his daughters hang around. So he must have had some belief that was not the case. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so coming up about, I'm sure a lot of you heard this by now, but after earlier today, I have to do it for the record. Viskoski mainly asking questions about, how he'd flown, the pilot, blah, blah. And again, the electronics thing was weird. He kept saying he installed electronics in different buildings for Epstein as a pilot. That was one thing that stood out to me. It was really odd. He just kept saying electronics, and he also seemed to be kind of sarcastic during the whole interview. Granted, we're reading tweets because there's no live stream of any sort. But he seemed to be a little sarcastic. Where's the chickens? I had them, Claire. They're in the corner, actually. I'll bring them. I can bring them back in a moment. They're getting a little riled up, and I'm so distracted as it is already. So I'm gonna fly through this. I'll bring them back before I end. And I got two different ones today. found them up in a tree sleeping. That's how I was able to get them. I couldn't get them earlier. They're all onto me. They know that they're being used for actors. Oh, so yeah, we get into the names. I mean, that was a huge thing today. We had a lot of names dropped. A lot of them we've all heard before. They were in the Little Black Book's been around forever. I mean, I remember hearing about that 5 or 6 years ago about how these rich and famous people were flying on Epstein's plane, right? And we saw on Fox News earlier that at least the lawyer was claiming that Epstein called the plane the Lolita Express himself. I always thought that was like a name given by like, truth community people. But it seems that I guess Epstein gave that, which is just the weirdest thing. I don't know why you call. Obviously it's sus. You had Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Kevin Spacey, Prince Andrew, and others. And I'm sure that this probably isn't the first time this has been in testimony like this in a courtroom, but it's the only record that I know of where those names were dropped during testimony in regards to Epstein. So we'll find out. We'll find out if that goes anywhere. I'm surprised that we even got that far, because I kind of thought they were going to limit the evidence so much that they weren't going to include anyone else, because the prosecution strategy is very much to focus on Maxwell and what she allegedly did rather than distracting with all these other names. The prosecution was the one that came in and forced the testimony of Viskoski, however you pronounce his name. I've never heard it pronounced, so I'm just going off of what I read. That was his testimony, right, to the defense's cross-examination. And then we had the first victim, the minor victim one, take the stand. Apparently she's an actor in L.A. She wants to remain anonymous. She got, I believe, $2.9 million. Well, she was awarded 5.6 or something like that from the Epstein Fund. And she said that in the testimony she got around $2.9 million. And during the testimony, so it was I don't know what the recross examination is. The rebuttal examination? I don't know. Comey was saying she brought this up because I believe she knew that the defense was going to use this if she didn't. So she brought it right out and she said, you got paid out. Would the outcome of this trial affect how much you receive? Because she wanted to make it very clear from the beginning that this has nothing to do, this person who's allegedly a victim isn't testifying to get more money. They're testifying for justice. Because that was one of the opening statements we heard yesterday. The defense was adamant that, these alleged victims were just seeking compensation. They're over there pecking, if you guys are wondering, but Epstein replaced Robert Maxwell. Oh, was that her father? Robert's the father, maybe? I definitely heard a lot about him. Boom, 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 boom. So we get into how old was she when she met Epstein and Maxwell. She was only 14, and I guess her father had died from leukemia, and her mother had hard times. So, and yesterday I was saying a lot, like, where were the parents? So obviously this mother was going through a hardship. I don't know what was going through her head when she let her daughter fly around with a couple. Maybe she thought it was all above board, but Jane, the witness, testifies that she saw several times Maxwell topless with other women, which she thought was unusual. And that was like one of the first times she hung out with them. So I don't know if she ever mentioned that to her mom or her brothers or sisters. I think that actually came up at some point, but there was objections to it. Oh! I read this one. I said the judge ordered the sketch artist not to accurately depict the witness. So I thought he was talking about Maxwell for a moment. I was like, no, she didn't do that, in my opinion. But, she did better than I could. That's for sure. Boom, who was in the room? There's a sort of page. Just going through the things that they went through. Apparently, Maxwell and Epstein, paid for her classes for voice acting and stuff, really gained her trust. There was an incident, and they get into details about things that I'm not going to mention. They went in the massage room and stuff. And that was one of the things that I believe the defense asked the pilot is if he let his daughters massage Epstein, which he said no to. And I remember something about Epstein's back pain being brought up by someone. I guess as an out for that. I don't know. Over the years, when she was 14 to 16, she went out to see them about 10 times in New York City, New Mexico, and I believe somewhere else it wasn't mentioned right there. Yep, and here's where they get into the whole thing with the verdict impact, how much you're getting. She says no. The prosecution wants to get that out of the way before the defense can use that fund against them. So I think that's why she brought it up before they could, and really she kind of disarmed it because she got her to say no, it's not going to impact it. And I believe that was the last question she had for her. Then we get back into the defense. She was trying to impeach the witness by bringing in evidence that wasn't admitted into the court already. And the prosecution objected twice to 2 pieces of evidence. There was some deliberation, and they basically adjourned without much more after that, as far as we can tell, from the Tweeternet. And, I mean, that's about wraps it up. I mean, I don't know, guys. You guys find anything interesting today about the trial that I missed? I don't think so. There wasn't really much. The pilot was the most interesting thing to me. Just the odd behavior. He had odd behavior to me through what I could read. Just the jokes like, did Epstein let you use his bathroom? And yes, he did. Like I need to now. Like, I don't know why you would ever. It's just a weird. It's obviously a joke. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to make light of the situation. But I don't know. It was weird nonetheless. That's for shizzy. Just like oddness. There's really not much else to cover. I wanted to get in here and do that really fast. I'm trying to line up this lawyer to discuss about why federal trials aren't broadcast. I know that we did a survey yesterday. Over 84% of you said that they should be broadcast. So, but that's also, I also kind of have to point out that that's in the context of this trial and us all wanting to know. But you really have to think about it from the point of view is if you're the one on trial, if you're the defendant, and should defendants have the right to demand whether or not they have their trial be streamed. If we don't make that interview happen tonight, it will happen shortly. And, he's a lawyer, so I'm sure he's got a tight schedule, but he seemed really happy to come on. So as long as that lines up, and I don't have any technical issues getting the sound going, which may be a huge thing, I don't know. I think I've got it figured out ahead of time. Oh, Lord. That's you, man. That's you, Lee. According to your brother. Oh, Lord. She peed everywhere. I don't remember that one, man. I don't know. What was the detail I missed? So, yeah, yesterday, what happened yesterday, the jury got selected, all that. I went over this earlier today, but dude, that stream, I was all kinds of messed up, man. Shoot. I got my stuff in order now. I think I'll just do a couple. We will sneak it. I'm just going to do probably from now on shorter streams throughout the day, catching people up rather than covering it all as it unfolds because it's a little bit challenging. Yesterday was 7 hours. And that's really what blew me off, which was, then after 3 hours today, it was just like, oh my gosh, I was done. I don't know. Where's the chicken? I'm going to bring the chicken over. So I don't really think there's much else to discuss. If I missed something, throw it in there. Put the chicken over. Hopefully she won't yell at me. I got one of them. There we go. Now everything's better. Everything's better now. I know that's all you guys come here for anyways. Chicken vids. Let's see. Actually, let me check back in with the, what's his name? He got a shout out from Jack Posobiec, I believe, today. At Inner City Press. For just, because I think he might be one of the only people doing what he's doing. He's doing a great job. I can't imagine how fast he's typing. Like, he's going to need some ice for his thumbs after this, man. He's got to be like, boom, boom, boom. He must be using some kind of a speech-to-text app, I'd imagine. I don't know. Yeah, and they're waiting on some kind of evidence. They debated about evidence and should it be let in now. Basically, the defense is already trying to impeach the witness and ruin her credibility by using these pieces of evidence against her, making it seem like she's after money, which is a hard point to prove when she's remaining anonymous. Because what motive could she have at that point, right? She's not gonna. Is she gonna later come out and be like, "Oh, that was me, the anonymous person"? If her whole point was about money, why didn't she just, And that kind of leads into, should victims be anonymous? I know that's a hard topic because we're talking about such terrible abuse, but imagine you're the accused and you have anonymous victims accusing you of things. I don't know. Does that lead to a fair trial? I don't know. Maybe using text-to-speech. Yeah, he's got to be using something, man, because I could not imagine. He's just bam, 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 bam. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that was a movie. It's also apparently, what was it? I'll have to think of it because I don't remember now. I think this is a different one than the black one yesterday. I haven't been able to hang out with them much because they don't go in their coop. They just fly up into the trees at night. So the best way that I get to see them is they go in their coops. But they've been flying up in the trees. I tried to put them in the coop and lock the door, but I don't always get up early enough for them. So I just let them do their thing, I guess. They get to fly up and... Oh, that's the chicken. The one's over there, and they're just kind of like talking. They're just chatting back and forth a little bit. Let me see. Really, there wasn't much. I don't know. It's a slow trial. Like, the reality is, even if we had the trial live feed of any sort, it would be pretty boring. I did happen to watch the Rittenhouse trial through until I don't know if I could watch this, especially because they say it's going to go on for months. I'm trying to see if I left anything here. And guys, be sure to join the Telegram chat, t.me/trials and something. People in there are really sharing a lot of great things. We got people that don't even watch I don't even know if they're in here watching the content, and they're sharing clips, helping me get information when I need it, and sharing it in there for anybody to see. Yesterday was Boston. Yeah, it was. Nothing's good. I don't know if I'll ever have that again, but having even 65 people, like, shoot, I had 600 earlier. I think that I might have more of a morning audience, I think, because people like me, I listen to a lot more stuff in the day, especially live streams, and that's how I am. This time of day, I don't want to be hearing stuff like this. But maybe I'll do like an early live stream and a later live stream after court wraps up each day, because I do want to keep covering this and see things as they break. Where on Telegram, it's in the description. No, it's not. Is it wrong? Is the wrong description? I'll share it from my phone. T.me. Let me see. I mean, what do you guys think? Is the witness credible? That's what I wanted to ask. Let me put that up and I'll share the. Larry Viskoski said he saw Space Kevin on the plane. Space Kevin. Oh Lord. I'm gonna run that poll. Was or is the first witness in the trial credible? And obviously, it's just your opinion, so we'll see what everybody thinks. I don't want to give you my opinion. I'll ask you yours, and I'll see what you guys say. I already kind of said what I feel about that, but I'll reiterate. You know, chickens, they just kind of fill the blank space, too. Oh, Lord. I think you capped out. Oh, dude. Today at 800. I know it was at least 600. Oh, the Telegram link. Boom, 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 boom. And guys, like I said, I'll let you know by the end of the stream if I got him on. Let me see. I'll let you know right now if we're still on. If we're on, we'll be back. And you know, it's the criminal defense attorney in Chicago. Don't ask me how I found him between the live stream that fell apart on and now. But even if he doesn't want to come on, I'm still gonna. I'll talk about what he said because he sent me a written statement for the website, and I'm gonna write that in an article tonight. Either way, talking about what he said. But he made points that I want him to share them with you guys in person if he's willing to come on. I don't want to blow up what he said and let him share it on his own terms. But either way, it's going to be on my website. And if he doesn't want to come on still for some reason or he doesn't have time, why can I not find the share link? Sorry, I'm trying to find the link. There it is. Copy. I'll read what he had to say because he had points of views that he kind of thought more, you know, because he thought similar to what I was saying yesterday about how we have to think about things like what if we were the ones on trial. Because I know that it's so easy to say when it's something like this, we want to say, yeah, every trial should be live streamed within the context of this one. But really, we can't. This is such a unique trial, and everyone has the right to a proper defense, no matter what the public opinion might be. See, the chickens are bringing in the views, but I don't know. There's the Telegram in the... Claire, the Telegram link, I finally put it in there for you. T.me/trial talk. Trial talk. Bottle that last. Thanks, Claire. Oh, Lord. Is it really that rare, Rebecca? I can't believe nobody else is talking about it. I know that there's a few people out there, but I guess most people probably have a platform, and it's probably something they don't want to discuss because they're afraid of getting banned or whatever. For me, I guess it did the opposite. So I got to luck out in that regards. I had nothing to lose by talking about it. And thus, I guess things worked out in that way. You know, we kind of already recapped it. We got a lot of new people in here. Today, so I'll just recap, you know, because everyone's here to hear about it. So I'll just talk about it again. I'll talk about it again. Everybody wants to hear about it. I know. Let's see. Let's get to the poll because the first witness testified today. I want to see what you guys are saying. So, you know, I said, is the first witness credible? Sorry, guys. That's terribly misled. Because that you might be thinking the pilot, some of you might be thinking the victim. I mean the first. All right, let me rephrase that because that was poorly written. The other one's over there all alone pecking at the chair. I kind of want to get it, but I don't want him to get stressed out. This one's finally calming down. All right, the first alleged victim. You guys probably knew what I meant, but reading that again, I was like, that came off kind of weird. So let's redo that one. I see. The funny thing is, with the black ones, I got five of them came out black, and I don't have a black chicken, so there must have been some recessive genes that really came through. Moronic. That's right, chocolate. That's what it is. I knew it. I thought it was moron, but I was like, that's not the word, because I was like, there's an I in there. You're right, moronic. That's what I was thinking of earlier. But I can't talk too much on these things, you know. See, there's so much, like, a lot of people go up and start talking about things like that, but it's like, I think most of us that are already here, we already agree. So, you know, I don't know. There's no point to even talk about it, to be honest with you. I think it's more important to get informed about new things and see what we can, you know, build on. But yeah, you know, things like that are funny. How, oh, that could have been, guys, earlier, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that until now, because that's my biggest consideration with the Zoom call, is I want to plug headphones into my computer. I had to find these old headphones that I know I have better pairs of somewhere, because everything I have now is wireless, so that I could run the sound through my computer and still hear it. But now that reminds me, earlier when I was playing sound through the computer, it was probably dude, people love the chickens. I think it's just such like a rare, I don't know what it is, but I find myself doing the same thing, because anytime I see a chicken in a video, I do comment on it. It's weird. I don't know what it is. They're important, man. He's toasty, man. It's toasty in here. They've been sitting out in the cold because they don't go into. I built them a nice coop, and they just go and sit in a cold tree. Like, why? I don't know. Ridiculous. Again, guys, I'll let you know if that attorney comes through. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe there's some miscommunication at some point. Ugh. Now you're weighing my arm, man. This way you can see him poop right on me. No, I'm sure he's probably all pooped out. All right. What was I going to say? Oh, I can play that whole long story was to say this. That maybe... Definitely, guys, this guy's going to cover anything better than anyone can on YouTube, really, unless you have like a whole team. At Inner City Press, man. He's out there tweeting in between as often as he can the whole trial. And then every time the jury breaks, he's doing podcasts, like breaking it all down again. So this guy is awesome. And, you know, without him, I wouldn't know much of what's going on. And I appreciate whoever sent him along to me. I don't remember how I came across him. Telegram. Listen, let's do this since we're all here for it. Let's look it up. YouTube. Actually, I probably shouldn't use YouTube directly, should I? It's going to be a pain. Let's just look at it. Let's look at it. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, drone footage shows FBI raiding Epstein's private. Yeah, it's crazy. He got arrested, right? And then... Wild drone video shows FBI agents raiding his home. Huh. This video is unavailable. Got taken down, man. He got taken down, man. I wonder if can you guys hear them when they're that far away? That's the YouTube channel. Talk about it. Oh, Lord. Is held for review. I wonder how many they killed. Oh. Shoot. Rebecca, I wouldn't have them without you all, so thanks for being here. The world would never know what a chicken thinks. Oh, God. I might have to put them out. Get out of here. Oh, Lord. Poor things are probably stressed. All right, I'm going to put them out. I'm going to not cancel. If I hear back from the lawyer, of course, everyone's coming in now. But my chickens are stressed, so I got to put them back outside. I'll be right. So if I restart this, it's because I got the lawyer coming on. If not, I'll be back for a moment or two. It's nice and calm now. I don't feel so rushed because it's not the middle of the day. All right, I'll be right back. I gotta take these guys out. All right, all right. So, boom. Whew. All right, I had to put them in their coop. Kind of offended none of them used the coop. It's really kind of breaks my heart. I spent a lot of time making that. But good news. The attorney's coming on. We're going to talk about, he's a criminal defense attorney from Chicago. He was a criminal defense attorney, but I think he may be in a different field now. We're going to talk about whether these trials should be live streamed, what the reasoning behind it is, and kind of get in that conversation. No, keep the comments civil. Don't say any, anybody goes criticizing my guests, you'll be in for it, boy. All right, I'm going to restart this show. What? I don't know. These people make the weirdest comments. All right, I'll be on for a minute. Let me see. I'm gonna get him. So let me get him in the works. I think it'll be pretty interesting because he had a different point of view than most people, and he had a point of view that I thought a criminal defense attorney might have about a defense client, and he kind of agreed with me what I kind of thought would be the case. Oh, first we got a poll here. Is the first alleged victim credible? 50% of you say yes, 30% of you say you're not sure, and 12%, is that 58%? I can't even, it's either 50 or 58%. I'm assuming it's 58% because of the missing numbers in there. I'm going to rename it right now so it's not like a culture shock. Actually, maybe I can just do it without taking the stream down. Let me see. Maxwell Trial. All right, guys, I'm going to work in this. I'm going to drop off of here after I change this, and I'm going to have a guest on. And awesome. And guys, drop a like in there. Get some more people in here. I'd like to, make sure there's people in here for the guest. For him, not for me. Again, we're going to have a criminal defense attorney on to talk about why these trials like this aren't live streamed. Maybe get his take on it. I don't know where he's coming from. What his perspective on the whole thing is, or what, I don't really know anything about him. I just read his commentary on this when I asked, and I said, hey, you want to come on the podcast or the YouTube tonight and talk about it? And then I realized it seemed to work out. So Maxwell Trial. Why? With attorney. Yeah, it's gonna be boring for a moment, guys. I'm just trying not to go down for longer than I have to. But once I get it set up, we'll have at least a 30-minute discussion or so. I imagine we could probably go on for a while with this guy. I'd really like to get some insight from what attorneys think on this. Sorry guys, there's a 100 character limit, and I'm trying to fit this guy's his title is like trying to describe what he is accurately. It takes up most of the characters. Attorney. I'm gonna change that title. Thank you guys for sticking here. Well, I'll run that poll again that we did yesterday so we can see some live results. We'll run the poll, as we talk, maybe, and I'll run it again after and see if maybe people change their minds after we have the discussion and see what everyone's take is. I mean, maybe people will change their minds about where they stood earlier. I'm going to check some details here. Oops. It's not that it really matters, but you guys don't care. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, Lord. All right, guys, I'll be right back. I got to do some troubleshooting, get in touch with this guy. And we'll be right back, ideally within no later than 15 minutes. All right, by 8:30. I don't want to take the stream down, but I'll just schedule it for 8:30. I think that I can just do that and I'll put Miss Betty White up. I'll put that I'm coming back at 8:30, even though the stream won't technically end. So, people jump in the comments and say, "What the hell's going on?" Say 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, and let me figure this out. It's the first Zoom call I've done like this. I don't know. Save. All right, guys, hang in there. Chat amongst yourselves. Think about that poll. Think about where you stand with the Think about where you oh wait. Okay. Oh, I see why I couldn't update. Think about where you stand with the whole court proceeding not being recorded. Should a defendant have that right? Good job, T Infantry. I'm sure you will. All right, guys, I'll be right back.
Hi guys, welcome to FTC. My name's Tanya and I'm going to show you a very simple solution to what seems to be a very common problem. I'm a relatively new streamer. Our stream is arts and culture based. Due to quarantine and lockdown, we're using a lot of Zoom. So we'll come here, add a source, add window capture, add source. We'll call it Zoom. Now you'll see we've got two options for Zoom. We'll choose the first one here. That looks like our meeting. It says join audio there, stop video there. So this probably is the one that we need to use. Let's just have a look at the other one. That is definitely a settings box. So we'll go with the first option. Okay, done. So why can you not see my video? All right, so what we need to do is we need to go into our Zoom settings. You see this little cog here, settings. Click on that. We're going to come to video here. That's what we should see in the box. We're going to click on advanced in the bottom right corner. And you'll see video rendering method. Now it's on auto at the minute. We're going to choose anything other than auto or direct flip mode. So we're going to choose direct 3D 11. Changes will take effect after you restart Zoom. Okay. We'll come back here. We'll exit our meeting.
Oh, you able to hear me?
Hey Douglas, how's it going?
Good, how about you, man? You able to hear me?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah. Good.
Oh, we are not live yet. This is the first time I've done a Zoom thing like this on YouTube. So I got a few kinks I got to work out. no more than 15 minutes, I hope, but it'll give us a chance to at least consider what's going on. I mean, obviously, I think you got a good idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think so. So do you have a YouTube channel that you're broadcasting this to, or trying to at least?
Yeah, somehow. So I went to bed Sunday night with 77 subscribers. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to cover that trial live because I write about a lot of trials. And
Yeah.
I put it up there, and I guess it got shared by a lot of people. I woke up with 2,500 people waiting for me to go. And so I was like, that's not what's happening. Well, we have about 250, 220 people right now. I just talked to them for a bit about the trial and wrapped it up. And I told them I was going to bring you on. We're going to talk about this, and because it's a topic that keeps coming up. It's part of this trial. I don't know. Have you been following it at all?
You know, I've been trying to. I try to stay on top of the news and things, but I have clients who pay me to focus on their cases.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, I'm not as invested in other people's cases that are going on, but it definitely is interesting because sometimes cases blend into things that I'm dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
But in preparation for you know what we're gonna do in a couple minutes, I wanted to kind of look into what the defense seems to be arguing, just based on their cross examinations and their overall pitch at the beginning in their opening statement. You know, obviously, the other guy killed himself, and now they're trying to, you know, make her out to be the sacrificial lamb. Yeah.
Yep. We can get all that. I know your time's valuable, man. Can
Don't stress. I'm all done for today. So
can you give me like 5 minutes to just? There's one thing I got to figure out. It's like for some reason the screen's blank when I try to capture it over here, and I had the video up. I was listening to it, but I wanted to get you on the call at the same time.
Sure.
I have the fix right here. I got to do that, and then we'll jump right in.
What's the name of the YouTube account, just so that I can maybe follow it?
Golden Renaissance Productions. Let me just get you the live link. So yeah, the crowd's dropping out right now because we haven't been on there nobody's there, but there's 150 people still, and they pick up fast.
Yeah.
Which is I've tried for years, and years I just kind of mess around with YouTube and try and jump on, and do things. I've never had such success, so I'm rolling with it,
Of course.
You got that link, right?
Great. Yeah, I just saw it.
All right. Give me a couple minutes, and I'll be right back.
Cool. I'll be here.
Thanks for your patience, man. Zoom. All right. Let me see.
Yeah, that's what we should see. Okay, done. So why can you not see my video? All right, so what we need to do is we need to go into our Zoom settings. You see this little cog here, settings? Click on that. We're going to come to video here. That's what we should see in the box. We're going to click on advanced in the bottom right corner, and you'll see video rendering method. Now it's on auto at the minute. We're going to choose anything other than auto or direct flip mode. So we're going to choose direct 3D 11. Changes will take effect after you restart Zoom. Okay. We'll come back here. We'll exit our meeting. And meeting.
All right. So you can hear me now, right?
And we'll reopen Zoom again.
All right. I got to restart
Start a
Zoom.
new meeting.
Okay.
And then the problem should be fixed.
Okay.
And then we'll jump right in. It'll still be a little bit bumpy at first. I'll have to just get the video up and the audio correct, and then we'll jump into it. Trust me,
Sure thing.
The people that are there right now, they're very patient and loving. So you should have seen me earlier, man. I did 7 hours yesterday, and then today I did 3, and I couldn't do it today, man. I was just like, and it was the worst
Long
coverage
days.
ever, huh?
I said long days.
Oh yeah, and
Imagine being one of the attorneys trying to defend the person's freedom.
oh yeah, dude, crazy. Especially with a high-profile case, it's got to be nearly impossible. All right, I'm gonna restart this. Hopefully, I don't lose the meeting. I think it'll be there. If not, I don't think so. All right, I'll be right back.
Sure.
And meeting for all. Boom, boom. Oh, let me make sure my audio's on the right settings. That's the hardest thing to keep track of. Every time you restart stuff, audio wants to switch up on you. I don't know why. Speaker. All right. No. All right, we're jumping in. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, let's see what happens.
Okay.
There we go. Good. It worked out. Boom.
Boom.
All right. We're here. We're live, I believe. Should be. All right. So why don't you start by telling us who you are, and obviously you're an attorney. I'm going to adjust my camera while you talk for a moment. Just share, how many years experience you have. You're a criminal defense attorney, I believe. If you just want to talk to people for just a moment, and I'll reset my camera so I match you up a little better. You got the better image.
All right, sure thing. So my name is Adam Bolotin. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I practice in Chicago and in New York. I've been doing this ever since I've been wanting to do this ever since I was in high school. It's my lifelong passion to defend the rights of those accused of anything between a traffic ticket and all the way up to murder and everything in between. I understand that you've been reporting on the Maxwell case that has kind of become the newest and latest hot button trial that's making its way through the media. Last week it was Ahmaud Arbery's murder trial. The week before that it was the Rittenhouse case up in Wisconsin. And I think that what we wanted to talk a little bit about today is how people in my shoes and in my seat view this type of wall-to-wall coverage on criminal cases. And I don't want to control the interview, so I'll let you kind of do your thing too.
No, that's fine. Because, we already talked about where we're going, so we both know where it's headed. And they know that I told them a million times. Because I repeat myself a lot sometimes when I'm killing airtime. What we're talking about is why the Maxwell trial isn't covered, and I think that there's some things that need to change. Overall, I get both arguments to a degree. Like, for example, we did a poll yesterday, and 84% of the audience, out of like 250 votes, said that we should live stream all trials. It shouldn't be, and I did another poll where they said the defendant shouldn't even have a choice. What do you think about that as a lawyer?
So I think that a lot of the times what we have when we do these opinion polls, the people responding a certain way may not really have ever been told or been explained why things are the way that they are. So, for instance, the Sixth Amendment guarantees the accused the right to a public trial. In today's world, that definition of public has kind of shifted in the eyes of people who want to see every single minute of every single testimony that happens in a courtroom. But what the Supreme Court has basically subscribed to, and something that I agree with, is that when you have people in a setting where they know that everything that they say and every move that they make is being broadcasted live to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people all over the world, they change the way that they act, because they're not just telling their story to the 12 or 14 members of the jury. They're telling their story and they're doing their job in front of millions. And that changes the way that people act. For some, it becomes more of a performative act, a performance where they're really trying to push an agenda or become famous. For others, they may become more reserved, where they may have said something to the police or said something when they're making their police report that now they're embarrassed about. And that changes the way that the testimony and the evidence comes in, and it alters the way that the trial actually unfolds.
Mm-hmm. And that's something I didn't consider until you said it, that it can impact the performance of the lawyers and the defense and the witnesses even. That's something probably most people don't even consider when they say something like that.
Yeah, because, I mean, and I don't know the judge. I've never practiced in front of the judge who's handling the Maxwell trial. I've never put a judge that handled the Rittenhouse trial, and I didn't practice in front of the judge who presided over the Ahmaud Arbery case. But if you look at the way that the judge in Wisconsin acted, and you look at the way that the judge in Georgia acted, and the way that they basically carried themselves during the trial, there were instances at the Wisconsin trial that were alarming to me. One of those instances being, and it was widely reported on, when the judge asked in front of the members of the jury whether anyone was a veteran. And it just so happened that the defense witness who was testifying had served our country. And the judge asked everybody in the courtroom to stand and applaud and thank him for his service. Now,
yeah.
on a regular day, that's commendable. That's great. We should all be thanking everybody who laid their lives on the line for our freedoms and appreciate them. But what ends up happening, and this is my opinion just from an outsider looking in, that judge knows that this case is being broadcasted to the world. That judge wants to make a statement to show that, hey, I care about our troops, because judges up in Wisconsin run on election, okay? They're elected officials. They run every year, and it's a popularity contest. It doesn't matter whether they're good at their jobs to a certain extent. They're politicians in some way, shape, or form. And maybe this judge wants to go on and be a senator or be a talking head on a show like yours, mm-hmm. or a different show. And they're getting their notoriety out there. Personally, I don't see that happens if it's not a widely publicized case, because the judge is just trying to get the case through and get the testimony out. There's no performative aspect about it.
Right. So, I mean, I guess my biggest thing when it comes to this is, my biggest argument for it would be, I'm trying to learn this thing over here. My biggest argument for live streaming channels is I believe that as a defendant, I should have the right to choose whether or not I should be able to basically force the court to live stream my trial if I wanted. What would you think about that?
So that kind of gets back to what we talked about at the beginning, where the Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to the accused. That's what the founders wrote on the amendment. That's what the amendment says. It's the accused right to a public trial. Now, there's a couple different rights that I can't make the decision for my client, that right being whether or not he wants to testify or not. And in Illinois, whether that person accused wants to have a jury trial or a bench trial. A bench trial is just, instead of a jury, the judge decides, guilt or innocence. Those are the defendant's rights. Now, I can certainly see a argument to be had that maybe in today's day and age, courts around the country have decided that, hey, we think that the right to a public trial, because of technology, has now expanded. Mm-hmm. And within that right is the opportunity to have the trial live streamed. Because it's the defendant's right to have a public trial, I can certainly see that maybe the person who's accused wants everyone in the country, if they have the time, to watch the evidence come in.
Yeah.
And that should be their right to decide. I would strongly advocate against it, but that's their decision. Just like sometimes I advocate, you shouldn't testify. I don't think that it's the right thing to do. Our case is going well. I don't really trust the way that we prepped, where you're going to, insert your foot in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they disagree with me, and it's their right to testify.
Right. Yeah. And I guess it is mostly it's hard to say that for the public, all trials should be live streamed. Other than the fact that I guess you start to get where freedom of the press starts to meet the right to a fair and speedy public trial. Where those two rights converge, maybe we start to get some discrepancy. I know that most people in the context of this trial, there's so much information out there and it's been such a long-standing case that everyone wants to see it broadcast live. And that's the public's opinion. And no wonder they want, I asked it again. Yesterday I said it was 84%. We got a smaller poll today, but 95% of people in this chat believe that all trials should be live streamed. And I believe, and if I ask it right now, I'm sure, just based on yesterday, they would say that the defendant has no right to choose. That's their opinion. And I'm not saying that's right. I actually kind of disagreed with that because it fails to, and I get that it is in the context of this trial. They're not thinking themselves. If they were thinking about themselves on trial,
right,
it would be a different story. But, I mean, it's kind of such a broad topic. Is there any argument that the press has a right to step into someone's public trial and insert themselves in the way they see fit? Where does that line come?
And they do have that right. But it's just like the First Amendment, okay? You don't have, as the freedom of press, you don't have the right under your First Amendment freedom of speech to yell fire in a crowded theater.
Mm-hmm.
That's not allowed. In being a country that allows for the freedom of the press to report on things of public importance, like criminal trials, they have an absolute right to be in the courtroom, to report on the testimony. And I think that there are great reporters in there who are listening, who are taking notes, who are reporting on the testimony. I think that the difference is that when you bring a video camera into the courtroom and it's being broadcasted live, and the person on the witness stand or the prosecutor asking the questions of the witnesses or the judge receiving the evidence knows that they're on TV, which is the biggest media platform ever invented in the history of human society, that's where I have an issue. I have no problem with reporters being in the courtroom reporting on how the evidence comes in, what the testimony is, and things like that. I have no problem with that at all. And in every trial, they're permitted to do so. There is I can't think of a case where a courtroom is closed off to the public other than when a minor is testifying. I know that we've had cases where the general public is closed off to that. But for the freedom of the press, they're always permitted to be in the courtroom. And there's a stenographer taking down every single word said by everybody in the courtroom. So there's always going to be a public record of what the testimony was. All you have to do is go and order the transcript.
Well, I guess most federal trials, they aren't video recorded. They're typically audio recorded. And this one was going to be audio recorded. But I guess the judge, or like you could call in and you could listen live.
Yeah.
The judge said no to that. What do you think the reasoning behind that was? Or I guess the court said no is the more proper way to put it. I don't know who said no.
So, I mean, it's an interesting aspect of it. I'm not sure why the judge made that ruling. Sometimes it could be a matter of not being able to handle the bandwidth or the amount of calls coming in.
That was one.
For instance, there was a Real Housewife of Salt Lake City who was charged in federal court, and they had, I believe it was her arraignment, and there was a public call-in number because of Zoom and COVID precautions, and the date had to get continued because the lawyers couldn't call in. They weren't able to access the line. So, unfortunately, even though the federal courts have a lot more funding than, the state courts, at least in Chicago and in New York, sometimes they just don't have the bandwidth to handle the amount of people trying to listen in.
Mm-hmm.
All Supreme Court arguments are audio recorded, and they're posted within a day to the Supreme Court's website, and they're accessible. I don't really know why they didn't do that for this case. But, to a certain extent, I just don't know when you have a live broadcast going on, how that affects the rights of the defendant.
Yeah. I mean, because I watched the Rittenhouse trial was probably the first one that I watched through and through, like from beginning to end. And I watched it through a YouTuber who I met in just film, because I film things sometimes, and I just happened to meet him. And so I started to follow him, and it turned, I didn't even know that he was there. And he was there the day that it happened. He's on the Newsweek article. He's on the cover putting the tourniquet on Gage Grosskreutz arm. So it's CJTV. I'm watching his coverage. He's only got, he's got a couple hundred people in there watching. And because he was there, he has all kinds of evidence. Some of it actually went into the court record already. But one thing happened when the car source owners got on the stand, and even the prosecution, everyone knew they were lying. He was lying about things that he was saying he didn't know, things that he should have known. And one of the things he said he didn't know was how much damage occurred that night. And he said, I don't know how many cars I lost. He was asked how many cars he lost. He said, I don't know. He was asked how much property damage. He said, I don't know. Well, CJTV had a video of him, that very guy on the witness stand from a year ago. He interviewed him right after his car lot broke down. He was saying $2.5 million, 137 cars. And he's like, whoa, they're lying. So he calls the defense attorney while the stream's going live. They give him the number to text it in the court within 30 minutes. They didn't put it in evidence until a couple days later. They're reading it off the tablet. I guess they transcribed it. They're reading the evidence against me like, oh, you gave YouTube interviews, haven't you? And he's like, yeah, probably. And he's like, oh, it says here you lost 137 cars. Is that about right? So he basically impeached the witness with evidence submitted in real time. And I thought that was fascinating. So I just kind of like realized that there's some sort of an evolution of the press that's coming on here. It's impacting trials directly in a way that I don't think most people see yet. So I'm kind of paying attention to that.
Yeah, I'd say that, I think the defense attorneys on the Rittenhouse case, they did an incredible job advocating for their client. And ultimately, they did the best job that any defense attorney could ever anticipate doing, and that's securing a not guilty in your client's freedom. What I would say is that it would appear to be a pretty large oversight by the defense attorneys if they just learned about that information through somebody who is observing the trial. Because, anytime that, especially in a high profile case, you're looking at any witness statements that have ever been taken, and especially if one of the witnesses and a key witness, the whole reason why Rittenhouse was down or up in Wisconsin to begin with was to protect this car dealership. I would be a little surprised if those attorneys didn't know about that YouTube interview ahead of time, or at least had a law clerk doing the research. But sometimes these things get lost in the shuffle. And it's nice to have, I guess, a little eye in the sky helping you out.
Because he didn't have an opinion either way, but he just saw a guy lying, and he's like, this guy's lying, and I have a video to prove it.
Yeah.
And they did not have it in evidence yet. I don't think they had it because it wasn't submitted into evidence until they brought him back up to basically impeach him with the evidence actually already submitted. Before, he was just kind of reading it off the tablet. And it was 30 minutes after he was saying, no. You saw him calling the lawyers. I was like, whoa. And you only knew if you were one of the few people watching his channel. I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And this guy's sitting in Seattle. It's like,
that is pretty incredible. I wasn't familiar with that chain of events.
I mean, like, only a few people noticed. I wrote about it, and it was he put it up on his site. But I mean, other than his followers, nobody really heard of that. It just was kind of another thing that happened. I had another question, but now I can't think of it. Is there anything else that's coming to your mind about this kind of topic, or?
I mean, other than the fact that when you have a highly publicized trial and it becomes the news story of the day, as a defense attorney, and prosecutors, I believe, would have the same type of worries that I do. You are really just trying to give your case to these 12 people and the 2 alternates, or however many alternates that the judge has on the trial, on the jury panel. You're trying to convince them, and they're supposed to only be looking at the evidence that is testified to in court.
Mm-hmm.
But when it becomes the news story, you have a bunch of talking heads on TV every single night giving their opinion as to this person was credible. I didn't buy Rittenhouse's tears. I mean, LeBron, I mean, you could go on Twitter, or maybe you're a Lakers fan, or a juror's a Lakers fan, and or watching ESPN. They're not going to be talking about the trial on ESPN. And then LeBron tweets about the fact that, oh, that kid his tears weren't credible. Well,
yeah.
shoot.
It becomes unavoidable.
Right. It becomes unavoidable. And these poor jurors, are trying to do their best. But sometimes when it's the news story, stuff trickles down to them. And now, as a defense attorney or a prosecutor, you really have no idea if they were tuning into CNN or Fox that night, or if they were paying attention to LeBron's tweets, or Stephen A. Smith started talking about it on ESPN. And now maybe the juror is like, I hate LeBron. Now I want to believe his tears, or I love LeBron. And maybe he has a point. And now it's not really the testimony, but it's the opinion of somebody who wasn't really, a witness talking about the evidence, which never really would have happened if there weren't cameras in the court.
Because, with a case like this, I've heard about this, because this goes back 20 years, and people have been talking about this for a long time. With a case like this, I found it hard to believe they could even find a witness that hadn't heard of it. And what would happen?
Exactly. Well, it's a very interesting point, because you look at what happened in Boston with the Boston Marathon bombing, and that trial and that case was reversed by the appellate court because the judge did not do a good enough time, according to the appellate court, didn't do a good enough job questioning the jurors about their biases based on different media reports that they read about what had happened. That case is currently pending before the Supreme Court of the United States. I'm not really sure which way it's going to come out, whether the Supreme Court is going to agree that a new trial is warranted, or disagree with the appellate court and say, no, the judge did what he was supposed to do. But when you have a whole media circus, and sometimes it's unavoidable, you are poisoning the jury pool.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a defense attorney, it's definitely something that is frustrating, because you have the public, and you want a public jury, you want to be tried by a panel of your peers, but sometimes they've already made up their mind, and sometimes it's very difficult to try to convince them otherwise.
Yeah, but sometimes it must be impossible. I don't know. You're getting into where the media is just so proliferated all the time. It's getting impossible, I think, for certain cases, especially the high-profile ones. Yeah, I mean, I think we've pretty thoroughly hit the nail on the head there. Was there anything else you want to hit there, or I think we got it all?
Yeah, it was a pleasure being on. Keep fighting the good fight.
No, thanks, man.
You are doing a service, and I think a fair service, in the way that I want it to be done, if I was representing anyone in Miss Maxwell's chair. And that is just report on the testimony and tweet it out, or write an article on it, and go from there. But I am not a proponent of having live video streaming the trial at all points and making it a circus.
I mean, it's easy for me to say, oh, I want that, but because then I could cover it, but
Right.
I have to think outside the box now.
That's right.
Oh, Lord. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I'm gonna jump off and close out with you real quick in private, and I'll be right back with y'all on the YouTubes here.
Great. Thanks.
All right. I'm still here. We are off. We should be. Sometimes the sound still goes. But thanks, man. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, it was great. My pleasure.
If you ever, maybe something will come up in the future, I'll shoot you another invite, or I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime that a case becomes, a big storm. And I'm always happy to comment on it and give my 2 cents to whoever will accept it.
Awesome. Okay. What I was hearing yesterday is this trial. There was some debate about a juror going on vacation, and they're like, "Well, you can postpone it," but then they're like, "But the case might go on past the holidays." I was like, "So they're talking about 3 or 4 weeks at least." So this case will keep dragging on. But I'm also gonna put this on my podcast. So that's cool. And I try, because oftentimes I'm just kind of like, I try to hit interesting things. I try to grab the public's attention and kind of have a discussion about just things to inform people about, get them thinking about court and stuff. Because my biggest thing is we need to know more about the court system as a people. It's kind of a shame that we don't know anything. We have to rely on lawyers, like 100%.
It's definitely one of these things that I always try to educate just the regular person, walking down the street, knowing what their rights are when a police officer comes up to them. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't believe how many times, people think that, well, if an officer asks me to search my car and I tell them no, well, I'm going to look guilty and they're going to just use that against me. That is 100% incorrect and not based in any constitutional law whatsoever. You have the right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures, and you also are free to not be required to consent to a search. Mm-hmm. And you saying no cannot be used as evidence of guilt and is not a basis for the police officer to rely on to say, oh, well, I'm going to search it now. Only guilty people would say no.
That was a point that I meant to bring up. If we allowed the defendant to demand a trial, if they didn't, it might look bad on them when they demand the live stream. All right, man. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get back to them before they all take off on me.
Right.
Thanks, man. Take care. All right, y'all. Thanks. All right, that was a fun little discussion. I think that I'd like to redo that poll. You guys, I think people just get mad at lawyers, and you guys just wanted to. Because it's even more extreme right now. Let's end this poll. I want to see what your guys' opinion is on that now. Taking what we just said into consideration, I'm going to resubmit this poll. I know everybody wants the Ghislaine Maxwell trial to be live streamed, but taking what we just said into consideration, should all trials be live streamed? I want to see if that changed y'all's opinion at all. I don't know. Because he had points that I agree with. And then to be honest with you, the other side, I don't know. I don't think we can make that happen, but I don't have that headphone anymore. You know how long it took me to find a freaking old school headphone? Let's figure out that poll result. Answer that poll, and I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight in a moment. I'm actually gonna cut that interview, and that's gonna be my new podcast, Podcast Labor Renaissance. Boom. All right, we got 50. It's already more balanced, but we only got 9 votes. Oh God, 14. It shifted so fast. We're already back to 71 to 29. Oh, I don't want to make it a battle because that'll skew the poll. I think some of y'all were just trolling him because you just wanted to go against what he was saying. I think that's what was happening. Tell me why in the chat. Why or why not? What are your guys' arguments here? Zoom me in now, chicken boy. I'm gonna take you on here. We're gonna go off topic. We don't have any. I had a specific topic with him to discuss. Tomorrow, let's do one. If you get Zoom, because Zoom is the thing that I figured out that works. Except for I have to have a headphone jack in, and I had to drag my old computer. There's nothing to hide. Yeah, but stuff in there. If it's your trial and you don't want it live streamed, is it not your right to say no? Just because we assume, listen, I mean, I get it. Oh, and speaking of what you just called me, it was all over here, man. It was bad. I had to clean that up. Always like the top floor ceilings. Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a pain. It's I don't know. It's gonna be fun when it needs to be patched and painted. No, tomorrow. Same topic, and you know more why. Ugh. It's 2 minutes. All right. Listen, guys. We got more likes than people. Oh God. I'm falling apart. Guess maybe try not to get arrested. Well, yeah, but you say that until the government's after you, for whatever reason. It's a very high-profile case. I understand that it not being live streamed. I'm concerned with Comey's daughter being a prosecutor, though. I mean, from what I've read, she seems to be doing a fair job. From what she seems to be saying. I don't know how to get you the link. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to set up another light. No. All right. Well, thank you, Suffragan. Volume is too low. Oh, is it? Not really, but I guess it could be a little bit higher. Not today. Tomorrow. I'm going to wrap this up. I don't want to ruin for me, this was a smooth stream. I like this one. I'm going to leave it like it is. I'm going to cut out that interview. That's going to be my podcast too. Boom. Like that. 2 birds with 1 stone. Tune in tomorrow. We'll do like a day stream. Have Leon. He wants to zoom in. He doesn't understand how complicated it is to do things on the fly. I had to go off for 15 minutes to make that happen. We'll do one tomorrow. We can do the same conversation. It's an important discussion. Until then, thanks for tuning in, guys. Sure, subscribe. Tomorrow, tune in. We'll do I'm thinking 2 streams. One around noon and one in the evening again. I kind of like the evening stream. Less people, but it's like I don't feel pressured. And everybody's just calm and chill.